Good morning. How's everybody doing? Okay, first, did everybody get my email with the link to the lecture from yesterday? Some people are not getting it when I send it through Brightspace, so I guess I'll switch over to McHenry's Microsoft. I don't know why it's doing that, probably because it's new. So let me know if I reference an email and you're like, what email? So we can make sure we get it checked out with the tech. But I will start just sending it through Microsoft instead of Brightspace. And hopefully that will fix the problem. Okay, first, does anybody have any questions? Yesterday was fun.
What were we supposed to do from yesterday?
For yesterday, I just went over the assignment. The first draft is due next Wednesday. It's just a draft, and we'll work on it in class to kind of polish it and get it up to date. And for tomorrow, you're reading chapter 1 in subjects and strategies. Originally, I was also going to have you do a brainstorming assignment while we were in class, so I did provide instructions for that. Please email me if you did not get the whole email that had all the links to the examples that I used and the assignment, and then I will send you a copy through Outlook. Good question. Others? Looks like everybody's here. I went through all of the free writings and I left you guys a note. So I wanted you guys to be able to find my responses to what you said. So if you can't find it on there, make sure you watch one of the videos on Brightspace that tells you how to check. Orlando, I got your email. So we're good. Any other questions about that? Technology? Good so far. Let's look over the assignment. I didn't get to talk to you guys about it. Let me share my screen. Okay, so let's just focus on the cover letter first. So I'd like you to find an actual job you're interested in or an internship. A lot of you guys will be needing internships as you get toward the end of your college. They can also give you like an into a company or some good experience. So if you have something like that in mind, you might look on McHenry's website and see if they have some stuff you might be interested in applying for in the future. You might as well use the assignment, right? So using an actual job listing or an internship listing, you're going to create an application letter and a resume, right? Some of you guys may have done this in high school. We're just going to kind of update it. So the cover letter is just going to introduce you in a single page. The resume will also be a single page. Most of you are just like entry-level college graduates when you're going to be going out there looking for a job. Okay. The formatting, all of that we'll discuss. Right now we're going to work on the content for the first draft, right? So somebody asked me an excellent question in the emails, which is how, when you don't have a lot of job experience, do you sell yourself, right? You have to look at some of the experiences that you have in other areas of your life that can translate into what the job is asking for. So, does anybody have any questions about what we're working on? Has anybody done any volunteering? Like with your church? Have you gone on a mission trip? Have you helped serve food? Have you worked in a summer camp? Anything like that? Let me open the chat if you guys. No, go away.
So, like, could it be any job around?
Yeah,
this
even
area?
jobs that you don't think apply have skills that are transferable.
So it could be any job. Okay.
Yeah. Do you have some in mind?
I was thinking like Target.
Yeah.
That would work.
So did you interact with customers?
Yes.
Yeah, so that kind of skill could be transferable to whatever you're doing. There may not be a customer service aspect in the job, but there might be. But that's something that you can list, even though it's not specifically asked for. Remember we were talking about audience last week? The main thing about this is you have to consider using keywords that they're using in the job and the application, because that's what they're going to be looking for. They're your audience, and they're going to be scanning your letter for the words that they used in the advertisement to make sure that you meet what they need, right? So you want to pick up on their keywords. But like at Target, what are some of the things that you did?
I haven't worked at Target. I was saying, would that job work?
Oh, you mean applying for it? Sure.
Yeah.
If you want that job, yeah, anything that's useful, yeah. So, what other, like a lot of you play sports, right? What are some of the things you think you've learned by playing on a team? Some of you might do individual. Somebody does powerlifting, right? What's that?
Like teamwork.
So, teamwork. Is anybody like in a position of like a team captain or in charge of something related to the team? Second, I'm answering the question here. Anybody have to organize anything? Schedules? So there are things like leadership, working with people. You guys tell me.
I plan our high school's homecoming parade every year. I was in high school.
You did what every year in high school? You sound like you have laryngitis, Reagan.
Sorry. No, I planned our homecoming parade.
What did you do in high school?
I was a dancer in high school.
Can you type it in the chat because your voice is like not coming through. Let me pull up an example too, resume. That uses sports. All right, let's take a look. So here are some of the qualifications they suggest. If you now don't push it, if you don't think these fit you, then don't put them on your resume because you want to really represent your strengths, right? So confidence, goal oriented, right? Your team usually has a goal, whether for performance, for winning, for reaching certain levels of competition, commitment, ability to be coached, right? Motivated, self-motivated, works well under pressure, disciplined, okay? So these are some good words, and I will link to this on both the Academic Writing Lab on Brightspace and in ENG111 because a lot of people can use some of these qualifications, especially it's helpful if you guys don't have a lot of job experience yet. Also, don't forget that things that you're doing right now, like attending school virtually, you can have a whole technical section of your resume that says you have experience with Zoom, with Brightspace, with Word. Those are all valuable skills that you're developing right now. So don't forget about adding things as you go through your schooling. Collaborate. So you can see what kinds of things in your sports experience might match. And not just sports. A lot of these things are done in other areas if you have responsibilities, or you volunteered or had other jobs. Questions? You plan the homecoming parade? Oh yeah, there's a ton of skills. Managing people, right? Organizing, double checking to make sure things are going the way that they're supposed to, right? Yeah, we're gonna brainstorm some of those. So the mind map, is everybody clear on what I want for the mind map for tomorrow? Then let's talk about it. So hopefully you've created a Canva account. Has everybody done that? Let's take a look at Canva. It's just a great place to design documents. Like I said, it's free. They'll try to get you to upgrade, of course, but I use it for a ton of stuff. So they have templates that other people have created. So these are my designs, like things that I keep. And so you can look at one of these and see how, like they're brainstorming. So we talked about that's for you to generate ideas for your writing. So you just pick one that appeals to you. And then you put in the center you, right? It's about you and your qualifications. Blow it up here. And then you can change the template and add your things. So for example, this one's on college. They're talking about playing sports, clubs and activities, you know, debt, all these aspects of college like we did with the other. This you can just change. I can go over here, put teacher. You can make things bigger, smaller, whatever works. Once you create an account, let's go home and I'll show you. It'll give you a main page that says create a design. So if you hit that, it'll give you some suggested designs, and this one, mind map, is what I want you guys to do. So if you hit mind map, it'll give you some options to play with. So here are the templates. And you just pick one that you think works for the kind of organization in your brain, right? Once you choose it, it'll come over here. You can increase the size, you can make modifications to it. When you're finished, okay, you go up here to share it, and you can either email it to me, but the best thing would be to save it as a PDF, okay? So if you hit the download button, it'll give you some suggestions, ways to save it. So if you just hit PDF, okay, and then you download it, it'll format it for you and try to get you to upgrade. And then you can just save it to your computer, and then you go to Brightspace and upload it under that assignment for mind map. Does that answer everybody's questions? So later, when you get the content of your resume down, this has some really cool resumes. I'm working on updating my resume. I'm not looking for a job. It's fun. I like the design part of it. I don't know. Does anybody else like the graphic design? So again, you can just go to templates automatically, and it'll show you what kinds of templates that it has under education, marketing, business, personal. Or you can hit create a design and it'll give you some. So I want a resume. And then it gives you some other examples, modern. So it kind of depends on the kind of company you're going for. If it's a very traditional company, you probably want to stick with a traditional resume. If it's an educational institution or something like that, then you can do like an education resume. Scholarship, if you're applying for that, that's also an option for this assignment. Creative, if anybody's going into photography, I've had people go into graphic design. High school, so if you're not sure, you're just graduating. And then you can look at the templates that they have and see which one appeals to you. Some of them ask you to include your picture, some of them don't. It's up to you. So that was kind of pretty. So then it's also got some great things like to suggest how, you know, one of the things that you're going to need is a statement of who you are. Like, so I'm currently a college student with an interest in marketing or physical therapy. It's at the same time, it's got the design layout. It's also got examples of resumes, achievements. So if you don't have jobs, there are also things that you might have won. Were you in the honor society? All of those things are great qualifications. Top 10 honors list, okay. Reagan, I would definitely put about the parade. That's a really, you know, good set of qualifications. Then you just choose one you like. Now this will be for the final draft. For Wednesday, I'm only worried about your content, right? You can put all of that into here. Okay. Questions so far? I got to read all of your writing, and I would like to say to everyone, I'm so sorry about your senior year. Like, virtually everyone mentioned how much it sucked to have your senior year cut short, and I cannot imagine. So I'd like to say I'm sorry about that. But I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're with us. Hopefully by this time next year, things will be back to normal. But I just wanted to say that because it does really sound like a bummer. I'd like to do a little bit of review, sort of a mini grammar thing. Remember when I talked the first class, if you weren't here, I talked about Khan Academy. I want to go over their lesson. And we're just going to start with the basics. Some of you, this is going to be review for you, so bear with me. But for some of you, it'll help later when we get into things like how to identify if you have a sentence or not, right? So let's just start with the basics. Introduction to nouns. What are nouns? Did they teach you the jingle? A noun is a person, place, thing, or idea is the one that usually gets everyone.
Leave it out.
Let me start it over.
Hello, grammarians. Welcome to the English Parts of Speech. Let's begin with the noun. Girlfriend and mine are mostly what you're going to encounter. Most sentences in English contain at least one noun or a pronoun, but we'll get to pronouns later. The noun is basically anything that's not especially helpful definition, but we'll get more specific. Now, the way this is taught in traditional grammar is to say that a noun is a person, place, or thing, which is fine. I think we can make that a little bit sharper and expand that out by saying that nouns are people or places, things, or ideas. This is the one that usually gets left out. So nouns can be people, places, things, ideas. Let's put that in action. So this is Raul from Argentina. He is a penguin. Raul has big dreams. Now, okay, so I want to take these three sentences and find the nouns in them using the test. So the test is the person, a living thing, place, thing, or an idea. Any of those things that falls into the category of words in English, which we call nouns. So, sentence number one, this is Raul. What is Raul? Well, Raul is a person or a living thing. So much said in person. Next sentence, he is from Argentina. Now, Argentina happens to be a place, so therefore it is also a noun. It's a kind of noun called a proper noun, just like Raul is. Argentina is a noun. Argentina, incidentally, is a country. The word country is also a noun because it is a thing. So, sentence third, he is a penguin. Now, Oh yes, penguin. That is a noun as well. So you've noticed I'm not circling for this. These words are pronouns. Or
They stand in for nouns.
And they're sometimes behave like nouns, but I wouldn't call them nouns. That'll just get confusing. So these are pronouns, and we'll get to them later. Sentence number 4, Raul has big dreams. So Raul, again, we know from the first sentence that it's a person's name. So noun again, and dream. Now, a dream isn't a person, a place. It's not. It's a thing, sure. The reason I put in idea as a 4th category is to get at stuff you can't pick up. Like, for example, the word. So dream. Yes, dream is a noun.
So the first 3 things are tangible things that you can touch, right? The intangible thing is the last one, and this is the one that confuses a lot of people. That's the idea. You can't really touch a dream or freedom or independence.
Dream is maybe a little tangible because it's something you can imagine, but the idea of like a word like bigness, or if you prefer, size. The size of Raoul's plumage was astonishing. Look at that gorgeous plumage. Penguin mohawk. The size of Raoul's plumage was astounding. Now, in that sentence, size is a noun, but it's not a physical thing. It's not a person. It's not a place. It's not something you can pick up. It's an idea. So that's why I include this 4th category. So, if you're trying to figure out whether or not a word is a noun, just apply this test. Ask yourself, is it a person, place, thing, or an idea? You, my friend, will be golden. You can learn anything. David out.
Okay. So like I said, for a lot of you guys, this is just review. But it helps when we get to the part where we're talking about what makes a complete sentence, because you have to have a noun and a verb, and they have to be expressing a complete idea, right? So things that are more intangible, like ideas, it's good to know which ones are classified as nouns. And you have things like common and proper nouns, concrete, and abstract nouns. Concrete, again, one of those things I can touch the table. It's a concrete thing. Abstract, we're getting to the ideas. So if you notice on this page, which I will share with you guys here, it has exercises. So I know some of you are already comfortable with this, then you don't have to spend as much time on it. But if you just want to review your knowledge, it's good to go through these exercises and make sure that you have a good understanding. Okay? So let me go back to the chat here and paste this in. So here's the link. If you're really sure that you're good with nouns, you can go on to one of the other categories that maybe you're not as familiar with. If you're like, what is that adverb thing again? You can go on to some of those sections and make sure through the exercises that you really are understanding what they are, because we'll be talking about the parts of speech when we get to making sure that you know how to write complete sentences, right? And it'll take you through there and you can complete each section. All right. Questions so far? Is there a part of speech everybody's like, what is that again? So what are the parts of speech? We just covered nouns. What's a pronoun? Help me. Maybe we do need to review the parts of speech. What's the verb? Christian, what's a verb? Yeah, it's an action word. Dance, sing. Word that expresses an action. Yes, very good. So what's a pronoun? Cole, do you know what a pronoun is? Avery? Yeah, I mean, mine basically, when you're in a sentence, it gets a little strange if you're like, Sheila went to the store. Sheila went to buy apples. Sheila left the produce department. If you keep saying Sheila, it gets a little repetitive. So you use pronouns. Then she moved to the produce department, right? Then it was time for her to check out. So these are words that stand in for nouns. They rename the nouns in the sentence and add variety to your writing. How about an adjective? Colson? You know what an adjective is? Oh, sorry, Alexa. Internet difficulties. I am recording these now, guys, as long as Zoom is working. I also figured out how to record on Microsoft Teams, so if Zoom crashes again, go over to Teams, and I will record these and send you guys the link. So if you do have internet problems on a certain day and you're coming in and out, you can come back and watch whatever you missed. Andre, do you know what an adjective is?
Yeah. Adjective.
Give me an example.
Sort of like isn't it like nouns and stuff? And like
Has to do with nouns.
Okay.
I'll help you out. It describes nouns, right?
Mhm.
So basically they're descriptive words. So singing, oh no, not singing, sorry. I'm getting into adverbs now. So adjectives basically describe nouns.
Got you. So like
Let's take a noun. Dog. Sorry, I left off your G, dog. We added a word to describe a dog. What would it be?
fluffy.
A little bit louder.
Fluffy?
Fluffy? That is an adjective. 9 dogs went to the park. Yes. So they're indicating number, right? It can also be black or brown. Okay. Large. Vicious or viscous, as I have spelled there. So anything that gives us more description of a noun is an adjective. Okay. What about an adverb? If an adjective describes a noun, what do you think an adverb does? Yeah, it describes a verb and sometimes adjectives. Okay. So back to the singing example. So if I say that, if we want to describe how somebody's singing, what do we say? Singing is a verb. She was singing. How was she singing? How can we describe it? Loud. Now, most adverbs end in ly, so we would say she's loudly singing, or she's singing loudly. Okay. Softly, maybe if it's the opposite. Weirdly. So if you see something that ends in ly, chances are good that it's an adverb. Okay. Last year. Yeah, let me give you guys a good source for looking at review. Look at adjectives and adverbs real quick here. Got a couple more minutes before it's going to cut me off, but I'm going to refer you guys to this page. So yeah, adjectives modify nouns. Okay. They give a more detailed sense of the noun. They don't modify verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. Okay. So go check out this link that has the difference between the two. I'll put it in the chat here. Okay, we're about out of time. For the last 10 minutes, I'll be here to answer specific questions that anybody has, or if you guys want to discuss like your resume and the qualifications and what to put on it. So I will reopen the Zoom room after it closes us down. So rejoin if you want to ask me questions or get some help getting started with your draft or your brainstorming. Okay. All right. Take a look at the links. Make sure you're good with all the parts of speech so we can start talking about sentences. All right. I will see you tomorrow or in a few minutes.